Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to serve you up some more space sim goodness with the top 10 space sims to play in virtual reality. Most of the games on this list are undeniably space simulations, but I have been flexible with the definition to expand the list to some games that may interest you that you've never heard of. Personally, although I've owned a Go, a Quest and a Rift, I've always struggled a little bit with virtual reality. I get motion sickness pretty bad, so I will factor that into my choices and talk about the comfort level because it's something that's really important to me. As always, this is not a definitive list and it's open to interpretation and more suggestions, so put them in the comments below. I absolutely love all the games that you've recommended through our other lists. The other caveat is that this is mainly focused on the PC experience and it won't feature games that are standalone on the Quest, although there is some crossover. There are 10 games on this list and a couple of honourable mentions that I'm going to jump right into. But first, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. We appreciate the growth of our channel, it's been absolutely phenomenal, and do join us on this journey. The first honourable mention is the Dune expansion pack from Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, although it's not a game in its own right, playing this and flying through cities in the Dune Ornithopter is an absolutely brilliant experience and I've been playing it a lot recently, although I did find the virtual reality performance to be very hit and miss with a powerful system. The second honourable mention is Star Wars Squadrons. Now, overall, the game has been poorly received, but it is an opportunity to play virtual reality in the Star Wars universe, which I had to appreciate. It's less of a space simulator and more of an arcade game, but it does feature on a lot of space sim virtual reality lists, and I thought it would be great to mention it so you can go and check it out if you want to. Alright, that's enough for honourable mentions. Let's go into our space simulator VR list. And first up, we have BattleGroupVR. This is a first-person real-time space strategy where you lead a fleet of powerful warships into battle from the bridge of your own flagship. You can assemble your fleet, upgrade your loadouts, train your captains, engage the enemy, and secure the sector. And one thing that came out really strongly with my other space sim list was that people want to command the battleship or the carrier. They don't always want to be flying around in small fighters, and that's what a lot of other games give us. This is a game where you absolutely feel that scale of the battleship that you're on and the fleet that you are commanding. This helps to create an immersion that's off the scale, and it's something that virtual reality is absolutely made for. I played this title quite some time ago, so it will be great with all the updates that have happened to jump back in 2024. Overall, it was a pretty comfortable experience, though I did suffer some motion sickness, but with my new PC, maybe that would improve because the frame rate really does seem to help me. If you're looking for that scale and to command a battleship, then look no further than BattleGroupVR. Blasting onto your screens next is Reentry, an orbital simulator, which is a physics-based spaceflight simulator where you will learn how to operate and fly spacecrafts used in real life. You guys wanted space simulations? Well, this is on the hardcore end, as it is based on actual spacecraft, not some fantasy universe. It's extremely intense and I will put it on the level of study level sim. But like other study level sims, the rewards you can get from this is absolutely insane as you prepare to go to the moon and planets in our solar system. We've all imagined those final seconds sitting on top of a spacecraft as it goes into space. Well, with this game, you can actually experience that. It's constantly being updated, which is really impressive, and I need to get the time to dive into this further because I don't always have that time running a YouTube channel and all the other things in life. But I do envy you. If you have the time, do pick this title up. It's rated overwhelmingly positive. And that brings us to the next title on the list, which is Star Trek Bridge Crew. This is a game that's playable in both VR and non-VR and will immerse you in the Star Trek universe. In co-op, you form a crew of 4 players to serve in the roles of captain, helm, tactical, or engineer. You make strategic decisions and coordinate actions with your crew. Now, this is a game that I've played extensively, both in pancake mode and virtual reality. If you go into the back catalogue of LT Gaming, you'll find I did a review on this game. You will also know that I'm a huge Star Trek fan and Bridge Commander has been a really great game on this channel. This game had massive potential, but it never got to realise what it could truly have achieved. That doesn't stop it from being a fun experience and probably one of the games I've played most on this list, in virtual reality. Also, it's the most comfortable on the list. I never got sick playing this. It was a really great experience and I enjoyed my time playing with others, but it is difficult to find people these days. You might need to find a Discord and link up with people. The removal of the Watson voice command technology was also very disappointing. However, despite all that, I have put a lot of time into this game and I've enjoyed it immensely. Trying to work out what the controls do on the original Enterprise in virtual reality is absolutely comical. And overall, I had immense fun playing this game. Next up, we have Absolute Territory. In this game, you will embark on adrenaline-fueled space dogfights against imposing warships and enemy starfighters in a futuristic setting. You have to navigate through the challenges of Newtonian flight physics and power management, strategically outmaneuvering and eliminating hostile forces. Survive perilous encounters with hazardous minefields and asteroid belts where quick thinking and precise piloting are essential for survival. In this game, you will experience gripping action across the immersive campaign and competitive leaderboard game modes, where every maneuver could mean the difference between victory and defeat. This game is on the cheaper end of the scale, but I have to say the implementation of VR is absolutely excellent, and it is one of the most comfortable experiences on the list. If you're looking to try out VR, I would absolutely recommend this game. I think why it does so well is it has low system requirements, allowing you to have a really good frame rate, and I didn't get any motion sickness while playing this. It definitely has less content and more of a smaller scale than the other titles on the list, but if you want to jump into a space dogfighter, this is absolutely the title to pick up. As a bonus, it also works really well on the Steam Deck. We move on to Space Engine, the world's first science-based, photorealistic, interactive 3D planetarium that models the entire universe using procedural generation for uncharted areas. Now, you could argue whether this was a game or an educational tool, but it is absolutely mind-blowing and really impressive in virtual reality. I would go as far to say that it is a magical experience if you're into space and you just want to learn and immerse yourself. I just spent ages looking around in amazement. It's overwhelmingly positive on Steam and a very comfortable virtual reality game. And of course you don't have to play it that way, but I did find the immersion levels of being lost in the universe to be a beautiful thing. From one title that uses procedural generation to another, and we're talking about No Man's Sky. When I heard that this game was available in virtual reality, I didn't quite believe it, so I went off and experienced it myself. And yes, the massive scale of this game is available to you in virtual reality, and it is kinda mind-blowing. My main experience of No Man's Sky was a few years ago on Xbox, and I haven't really touched it since, so I jumped into the VR element. The scale really does hit you, but I did find that the performance wasn't always great, which did lead to motion sickness. I also have a pretty powerful PC, and performance does seem to be a little bit hit and miss. But if you can power through that, the scale of this game in virtual reality is one of the best on the list. You can go from planet side to your spacecraft, take off through the atmosphere, and explore the universe. So if you really want to try an expansive game in virtual reality, this is one of the strongest contenders. Evochron Legacy has featured on a few of our previous space simulation lists, and for a good reason. It's an excellent title with an advanced flight model. It has a vast explorable universe and offers freeform gameplay with many diverse objectives and paths to choose from. And then you get to experience all of this in virtual reality, and due to the game not being that demanding, it runs really well. I think it's a combination of the advanced flight model using inertia and the ability to be in virtual reality which really makes this super immersive. I keep singing the praises of this game and I'm gonna do it again. Go out and check it out if you want the underdog of the space simulation universe. Also, with the fact that it ran really well in virtual reality, I didn't experience too much motion sickness. There was a little bit when I was planet side, but overall, it really felt comfortable to me. If you're looking for a space simulation to get lost in while playing in virtual reality, then I really do have to recommend Evochron Legacy. We move on to Rebirth VR Edition. Now this game is rated only mixed on Steam, but for me was one of the best virtual reality experiences I had with a space simulation. Rebirth VR Edition is tailored to be an immersive VR experience based on Rebirth Home of Light. You can trade, fight, build and think in the X universe, the biggest sandbox this side of the galaxy. I reached out to Egosoft for this key and I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but when I fired it up, the graphical fidelity was absolutely brilliant. It was on a par with some of the top games on this list. The scale of flying past massive space stations was portrayed really well in this game. It was one of the strongest titles on the list for just making me stop and look around me. I have to believe that the reason this title isn't reviewed very well is because Rebirth, the original game, is viewed as the weakest in the series. But as a standalone VR experience, this title really impressed me and I didn't feel motion sick at all while playing this. It was really strong. I'm going to go against the Steam reviews here. If you're looking for a space simulation experience with really great visuals and a lot of content, then Rebirth VR Edition is for you. It certainly is the surprise of this list. Next up is a game that I've been going on about for quite some time, and that is House of the Dying Sun. This game is a tactical space shooter that puts you in the cockpit of the universe's most terrifying starfighter, hunt the enemies of the Empire, and bring ruin to their people. Now that sounds a little bit extreme, but it is a great virtual reality experience. The game is extremely fun while being a little bit short, but when you add in virtual reality, brilliant performance, virtually no motion sickness, and this really is a strong contender for this list. You will notice when it comes to virtual reality that the games that have slightly lesser graphics tend to be the better and more comfortable experiences. That's because the frame rate, once again, is very high. And House of the Dying Sun doesn't disappoint. It's like being in your own Battlestar Galactica Viper and just taking out all of the enemies. You look around your cockpit, it's fast action, and you can get very lost in this. Absolutely built for virtual reality. And finally, we get to Elite Dangerous, which for me was the most expansive and impressive VR game that I played as a space simulation. Now, being totally honest, this isn't my favourite space sim, and I've put the least amount of time into this of the really big hitters. While impressive, I've always found this game to be a mile wide and about a few centimetres deep. Virtual reality helps to mitigate this, and honestly, being in my own starfighter, looking around the cockpit as the various HUD elements would pop up, was truly immersive and really what I enjoy about virtual reality. One of the most awesome things I've done in Elite Dangerous is quantum travel. It's extremely relaxing, and then you pop out and there's this massive fiery sun. It's pretty intimidating, but the scale is off the charts. Space stations take on a new life, and this game really does go to another level. Also, one of the most impressive things was the performance. It runs buttery smooth, and I used an Xbox controller and everything worked just fine. In the process of making this video, I discovered a new side to Elite Dangerous, and if you haven't already, I would encourage you to do that also. Virtual reality in this game has given it a new lease of life in my game library. So there we go, LT Gamers, another compelling list on the channel. I really want you to put your recommendations down below. What did you think of my selection? If you suffer from motion sickness like I do, here's a couple of tips. First off, get a little fan and let it blow some cold air gently into your face as you play. It really helps to mitigate it. Secondly, you have to get used to VR. If you start to feel sick, stop the gameplay session and come back and do it again. It's called getting your VR legs. Okay everyone, make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you're new here. We really want to have you along for this incredible journey. As always, I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and I'll catch you on the next one.